Number 8 overall pick, BYU's Egor Demin is heading to the Brooklyn Nets. Dion, this is a team that I feel like you've poked a lot of fun at just in our coverage. It's always like, I just send them to the Nets. Who cares? Uh, Kind of excited though. I'm happy that Yegor went top 10. He was someone who I personally was pretty high on. I can't shake what he did before coming over to BYU out of my mind. I know it was in the second division for Real Madrid, I believe, but just the numbers he was putting up were so impressive to me with when you factor in the youthfulness, the upside, coming in at least showing flashes for BYU, even though he had a pretty up and down season. I still believe in this kid's ceiling. I think taking a 6'9" shot creator with elite vision is always a good move. But what do you make of this pick and his fit in Brooklyn?
I think, well, the fit, I don't think matters because Lord knows who's going to be on Brooklyn. So, like, he is the fit because I don't know who else is going to be on this roster at some point. I have no idea what the Nets are doing. But I love this pick for Yegor because, with all that being said, free reign, man. Like, who is preventing you from doing what you want to do? D'Angelo Russell? Probably not. Like Cam Thomas? Probably not. Like, this is Yegor's world in Brooklyn. You can kind of do your thing, and I think that's what Yegor needed. He's going to have to make mistakes. High turnover guy, can't shoot the greatest at the moment. There's a lot of development that needs to go into maybe the two biggest things for a point guard to do. 6'8", 199 though. That's why you draft Egor Demin at 8 and you let him figure it out. And there couldn't be a better landing spot for him to figure it out too.
Yeah, I agree. He should get a lot of crack at minutes early. Him as the player, I think you hit on some of the weaknesses with the turnovers, with the three-point shooting, was just 27% from beyond the arc this past year. Beyond that too, it is the lack of explosiveness. Like even me as someone who is a Jaeger guy, I have to acknowledge that he didn't touch the paint as much as you would like, especially considering he is 6'9". I know he's on the lighter side. Maybe he bulks up. I think he does have a frame where he could put on muscle. But yeah, just watching him play, he racked up assists and they didn't feel cheap. Like there are certain players you've watched who are a bit of assist merchants who will like intentionally turn down their own shots so that they can log an assist instead. I thought Jaeger did a pretty good job of playing within the flow of the offense and just running the show when he was asked to. Now, the counter to that would be over the year it became clear that this was really Richie Saunders' team, that he was going to be the guy they're going to excuse me, in the clutch. And maybe that scares you off a little bit is that Yegor didn't exactly like initiate a ton or initiate as much as the sell for the 6'9" point guard would be down the stretch of the season. But I still think the ability is there, it just needs to be harnessed.
It needs to be, in what way?
Just free him up, let him do his thing, let him rock out a little bit and figure it out as he goes.
All right, yeah, I like that. I like that. It needs like when I don't harness to me means like restrained. And the reason I say in what way is like I don't think you should restrain Yegor. Let him be himself. Let's figure out if it works or doesn't. But harness from the standpoint of like how you described it, I completely agree. But I
Mhm.
think Yegor is Yegor. It's either going to hit or you're probably going to have a bust. And that's the harsh reality. I feel the same with Casparis, but if it hits, we're talking about a guy outside the top two picks. No one is going to be happier with their pick tonight than Brooklyn.
I agree with everything you're saying. Even like I was refreshing some of Yegor's numbers as you were speaking, and down the stretch again, he didn't always feel like he was the most involved. He still put up 7 assists against Alabama, had 8 assists a game before against Wisconsin in the NCAA tournament. Like he still was doing his thing, still finished the year second in the Big 12 in assist rate. Like it felt like he faded a little bit as the season went on, but there were still numbers that back it up that he was still being productive. He was still giving you some of what his billing was supposed to be. He's a little bit like some of the other players we talked about, though, where I would like to see him be a little more aggressive with his own offense. And I think that's where, if he gets stronger, if he works on some of that explosiveness and cleans up just some of the deficiencies we saw in terms of, maybe settling for jumpers too often instead of trying to get to the basket. If he can figure that out, then yeah, this pick is going to be outstanding.
There's a ton of spacing in the NBA that helps with that too, though. You know what I mean? Like there's an element of it's easier to get to the basket in the league than it is in college because you don't have a center sitting there.
Hmm.
And I think that's going to help his because I don't think he was a as bad of a shooter as he kind of had to take the shots, and maybe
Yeah.
those shots weren't. his game. So I think his game's more fit for the NBA, the tempo, the spacing. I think you're going to get a very good version of Yegor. I'm very excited for this pick, but I would like I said, if it don't work, it's really not going to work.
Yeah, it definitely feels like one of the more likely boom bust types of players in this draft. Nonetheless, I think we're both a fan of him and really want it to work out for Brooklyn.